There is something happening inside your body right now that you were not supposed to find out about this way. Not from a video, not from someone else's words. You were supposed to discover it the way most people do, slowly, over years, maybe decades, through accumulating silence and practice and the gradual wearing down of everything you thought you were. But something has accelerated. Something in the field has shifted. And your body, whether your mind has caught up or not, is already responding. You have felt it. You may not have had language for it, but you have felt it. The strange aches that arrive without injury. The fatigue that sleep does not fix. The nights where you wake at 2 or 3 in the morning, wide open, as if something inside you is being rewired, and the maintenance crew needed you offline to do it. The sudden food aversions, the unexpected crying, the ringing in your ears that no doctor can explain. You have been to the appointments. You have run the tests. And everything comes back normal. Because what is happening to you is not a malfunction. It is a recalibration. And your body already knows what your mind is only beginning to suspect. I should not be telling you this because the moment you become conscious of a recalibration in progress, you change it. That is not a metaphor. That is one of the most rigorously demonstrated facts in modern physics. The observer changes the observed. And what I am about to walk you through will make you the observer of a process your body has been conducting quietly, beneath the threshold of your awareness, possibly for months. Once you see it, you cannot unsee it. And that means the recalibration will shift. It will deepen. It will accelerate in ways that may be uncomfortable. But you are here. And the fact that you are here tells me your system is ready for what comes next. Let us start with what your body actually is, because you have been given a model of it that is not just incomplete, it is almost exactly wrong. You were taught that your body is a machine. Bones are the frame. Muscles are the engine. The brain is the computer. Food is fuel. And when something breaks, you find the broken part and fix it or replace it. This is the mechanical model. It has been the dominant framework in Western medicine for roughly 300 years, since Descartes split mind from matter and declared the body a clockwork automaton that happens to carry around a soul. But here is what 3 decades of research in quantum biology, psychoneuroimmunology, and biofield science have been quietly revealing. Your body is not a machine. Your body is a field. It is a highly organized, coherent electromagnetic event that happens to look solid. And the difference between those two models is not academic. It is the difference between thinking your symptoms are problems to be fixed and recognizing that your symptoms are intelligence trying to express itself. Let me be precise about what I mean by field, because this is not a vague spiritual metaphor. Every cell in your body produces a measurable electromagnetic signal. Your heart generates an electrical field that can be detected several feet away from your skin. This was documented at the HeartMath Institute, using magnetometers sensitive enough to pick up the heart's magnetic component at a distance. Your brain produces oscillating electrical patterns, what we call brainwaves, that shift frequency depending on your state of consciousness. Your DNA has been shown to emit biophotons, ultra-weak photon emissions in the visible and ultraviolet spectrum, a phenomenon first measured by the biophysicist Fritz Albert Poppe in the 1970s. Poppe discovered that living cells emit coherent light, and that the coherence of that light, how organized and harmonious the photon emissions are, directly correlates with the health of the organism. Diseased cells emit chaotic, scrambled light. Healthy cells emit light that is almost laser-like in its coherence. So when I say your body is a field, I mean it literally. You are a walking, breathing pattern of organized electromagnetic energy, and that pattern is not static. It shifts, it responds, it recalibrates based on the information it receives, not just from food and movement and temperature, but from thought, from emotion, from attention, from the fields of other bodies around you, and from something even deeper that we will get to. I spent years doing everything right, visualizing until my head hurt, affirming until the words felt empty, and I kept getting close but never landing. Then I found the actual reason. There is something underneath all of it, quietly running the show. I am hosting a free live transmission where I walk you through exactly what that is and how to finally shift it at the root. The link to register is in the description below. Save your seat. The moment you see this, you will understand why you could not see it before. Now here is where this becomes directly relevant to what you have been experiencing. A recalibration is what happens when the coherence pattern of your biofield is reorganizing itself to hold a different frequency. Think of it like this. You have a radio, and for years it has been tuned to one station. The signal was clear enough. You could hear the music. You built your life around that music. But now the dial is turning. Not because someone outside you is turning it, because something inside you, something at the level of your cells, your nervous system, your field, has recognized that there is a different station available, a clearer signal, a deeper broadcast. And the process of moving from one frequency to another is not smooth. It is exactly like what happens when you turn a radio dial between stations. You get static. You get fragments of the old station bleeding into the new one. You get noise that sounds like chaos, but is actually the space between two coherent signals. That static is what you have been feeling. The headaches that come and go without pattern. The digestive disruptions. The periods of intense emotion that seem to have no trigger. The dreams that are more vivid than your waking life. The sense that time is behaving differently, some days stretching, others collapsing. The sudden inability to tolerate people, environments, foods, and media that you used to consume without a second thought. These are not signs that something is wrong with you. These are signs that your body is doing exactly what it is designed to do when it encounters a new informational frequency. It is releasing the old pattern and organizing around the new one. And that process, by its nature, is disruptive. If this is resonating with something deep in your body right now, take a moment to hit the like button and subscribe so we can continue going deeper together in future explorations. Let me take you into the biology of this more carefully, because understanding the mechanism will help you stop resisting it. And resistance is the only thing that makes a recalibration painful. Your autonomic nervous system has two primary modes. You know them. Sympathetic, the activation state, fight or flight, and parasympathetic, the restoration state, rest and digest. What you may not know is that these two branches are not simply on-off switches. They exist on a spectrum of tone, and the tone of your autonomic nervous system, its baseline setting, is shaped by years of accumulated experience. If you grew up in an environment where you had to be hypervigilant, where safety was unpredictable, where emotional expression was punished or ignored, your sympathetic branch developed a higher resting tone. Your body learned to idle at a higher RPM, not because it was broken, but because that was the intelligent response to the environment it was in. Your nervous system calibrated itself to match the world it expected to encounter. This is the key insight. Your nervous system is always calibrated to something. It is always tuned to a frequency that matches the reality it has been trained to expect. And that calibration does not just live in your brain. It lives in your fascia, your connective tissue, your gut lining, your vagal tone, your muscle tension patterns, your breath rate, your hormonal rhythms. Your entire body is a physical record of the frequency you have been living at. So what happens when the frequency changes? Everything that was organized around the old frequency has to reorganize. And the body does this the same way any complex system reorganizes. It goes through a period of increased entropy, increased disorder, before settling into the new pattern. In the language of complexity science, this is called a phase transition. Water does it when it moves from liquid to gas. It does not go smoothly. There is a point of turbulence, of boiling, where the old structure breaks apart and the new structure has not yet stabilized. Your body is doing this right now, and the symptoms you have been experiencing are the boiling point. Let me name some of these symptoms more specifically, because precision matters here. When your biofield is recalibrating, the vagus nerve, the longest cranial nerve in your body, running from your brainstem down through your chest and into your abdomen, becomes highly active. The vagus nerve is the primary channel of the parasympathetic system, and it innervates your heart, your lungs, your digestive organs, and your larynx. When it is activated in unusual patterns during a recalibration, you may experience heart palpitations that are not cardiac events. You may experience the sensation of a lump in your throat, what is sometimes called globus sensation, which is the vagus nerve affecting the muscles around your larynx. You may experience sudden waves of nausea or changes in appetite as the nerve signals reorganize in your gut. You may experience spontaneous deep breaths, sighs that come from nowhere, as your respiratory pattern resets. The fascia, the continuous web of connective tissue that wraps every muscle, organ, and bone in your body, also plays a role that most people never hear about. Research by practitioners like Robert Schleip at Ulm University has shown that fascia is not just passive wrapping material. It is a sensory organ. It contains mechanoreceptors, nerve endings that detect pressure, stretch, and vibration. It also contains smooth muscle cells, meaning it can contract and release independently of your skeletal muscles. When your body is reorganizing its tension patterns during a recalibration, your fascia literally reshapes itself. This can produce aches, stiffness, and pain in areas where you have no injury. It can produce the sensation of energy moving through your body because, in a very real sense, energy is moving through your body. The fascial web is a piezoelectric material. When it is compressed or stretched, it generates electrical signals. When your fascia is reorganizing, it is generating new electrical patterns, and you feel them. This is not esoteric. This is biophysics, and it explains why so many people going through an awakening process, a shift in consciousness, a deep life transition, report physical symptoms that have no medical explanation. The symptoms are real. The mechanism is real. But it is happening at a level that the standard medical model does not look at, because the standard medical model is still operating on the machine paradigm. It is looking for broken parts, and there are no broken parts. There is a system in transition. There is something else happening in your body during this process that deserves its own attention. Something that connects the fascial reorganization you just learned about to the electromagnetic field your body generates. The piezoelectric signals produced when your fascia compresses and stretches do not simply dissipate into the surrounding tissue. They travel. The fascial web is continuous, meaning a signal generated in your right shoulder can propagate along fascial lines all the way to your left hip, your diaphragm, your jaw. This is why recalibration symptoms so often seem to move. The ache that was in your neck last week is in your lower back this week. The tightness that lived in your chest has migrated to your solar plexus. You are not imagining this migration. You are tracking the movement of electrical reorganization through a continuous piezoelectric medium. Your body is literally rewiring its signal pathways, and you are feeling the current moving through the wire. There is also something happening in your gut that most people experiencing a recalibration never connect to the larger process. The enteric nervous system, the network of approximately 100 million neurons lining your gastrointestinal tract, is often called the second brain. And while that name is useful, it undersells what the enteric system actually does. It does not simply manage digestion, it produces neurotransmitters. Roughly 90% of your body's serotonin is manufactured in your gut, not your brain. Serotonin is not just a mood chemical. It is a signaling molecule that regulates intestinal movement, that communicates between the gut and the brain via the vagus nerve, and that plays a role in the timing of cellular processes throughout the body. When your biofield is reorganizing, when the vagus nerve is firing in new patterns, your enteric system responds. Serotonin production shifts. Gut motility changes. The microbiome, the community of bacteria and fungi and archaea that outnumber your human cells 10 to 1, begins to shift in composition because the chemical environment they live in has changed. This is why food that you used to tolerate without a thought suddenly feels wrong in your body. Your gut is not malfunctioning. It is updating its operating environment to match the new frequency your nervous system is broadcasting. I want to pause here and ask you something. When did you first notice the shift in your body? Was there a specific moment, a specific day, when you realized that something was different, that the old patterns were no longer holding? Tell me in the comments, because your experience might be the exact thing someone else needs to hear to trust their own process. Now I want to take you deeper, because there is a layer underneath the nervous system and the fascia and the biophotons that most people never reach. And this is the layer where the real recalibration is happening. In 1982, a physicist named Alain Aspect conducted an experiment in Paris that confirmed one of the strangest predictions of quantum mechanics. He demonstrated that two particles, once entangled, remain correlated regardless of the distance between them. Measure the spin of one particle, and the other particle instantaneously assumes the complementary spin, even if it is on the other side of the universe. No signal passes between them. No time elapses. The correlation is immediate and absolute. Einstein called this spooky action at a distance and spent years trying to disprove it. But Aspect's experiment, and every experiment since, has confirmed it. Entanglement is real. Non-locality is real. The universe is not made of separate objects interacting through local forces. It is made of relationships, correlations, patterns of information that are not bound by space or time. David Bohm, the theoretical physicist who worked with Einstein at Princeton, took this further. He proposed that what we see as separate particles, separate objects, separate bodies, are actually expressions of a deeper, undivided order. He called it the implicate order. In Bohm's framework, the reality we experience, the world of separate things, is the explicate order, the unfolded surface. Beneath it is the implicate order, the unfolded depth, where everything is connected, where separation is an illusion produced by the way the deeper order unfolds into appearance. Here is why this matters for what is happening in your body. If Bohm is right, and if the experimental evidence for non-locality and entanglement supports his framework, then your body is not a self-contained system. It is an expression of the implicate order. It is a local unfolding of a non-local field. And when that field shifts, when the deeper order reorganizes, your body has no choice but to follow. Not because something is being done to you from outside, because there is no outside. The shift is happening at the level where you and the field are the same thing. This is what the mystics have been saying for thousands of years, in different language. In Advaita Vedanta, the ancient Indian philosophical tradition, there is a concept called Brahman, the undivided ground of all being. The individual self, the Atman, is not separate from Brahman. It is Brahman experiencing itself through a particular form. When the Atman begins to recognize its true nature, the form, the body, the mind, the personality, undergoes what the tradition calls a purification. Old patterns called Samskaras, stored impressions from past experience, rise to the surface to be seen and released. This process is not comfortable. It is described in the texts as a burning, a dissolution, a stripping away of everything that is not essential. What the Vedantic tradition describes as the burning of samskaras, modern psychoneuroimmunology might describe as the release of stored stress from the nervous system. What the tradition calls purification, biofield science might call a coherence shift. The language is different. The territory is the same. Your body is releasing patterns that no longer match the frequency it is moving toward. And that release has a physical signature. It is worth sitting with the precision of what samskara actually means, because the word is more specific than its common translation as impression. In the Yoga Sutra tradition, a samskara is a groove worn into the fabric of the mind-body system by repeated experience. Every time you responded to threat with contraction, every time you suppressed an emotion to survive a relationship, every time you performed a version of yourself that was not quite true to protect yourself from rejection, you deepened a groove. And grooves become channels. Channels become the default path that energy travels. So the nervous system that once made a strategic choice, I will contract here, I will be smaller here, I will not feel this here, eventually runs that contraction automatically, without choice, without awareness, as its default operating pattern. The samskara is not a memory stored in the brain. It is a pattern stored in the body, in the fascia, in the breath, in the posture, in the way your diaphragm holds itself when someone raises their voice, in the way your throat closes when you are about to say something true. The burning of samskaras that the tradition describes is the body releasing these grooves. And that release, when it happens at the depth of a genuine recalibration, can feel like grief without a cause, rage without a target, joy without a reason. All of it is the groove releasing its stored charge. All of it is the body catching up to a frequency that no longer needs those particular channels. Let me tell you about something specific that happens during this process that almost no one talks about. It involves the relationship between your immune system and your state of consciousness. In the 1980s, a psychologist named Robert Ader and an immunologist named Nicholas Cohen at the University of Rochester conducted a series of experiments that founded the field of psychoneuroimmunology. They demonstrated, for the first time in a controlled setting, that the immune system is not autonomous. It does not operate independently of the brain and the nervous system. It is directly modulated by psychological states. They conditioned rats to suppress their own immune function in response to a taste stimulus, proving that the immune system could be trained by experience, just like behavior. This was revolutionary. It shattered the assumption that the immune system was a closed, self-regulating network. It showed that your thoughts, your emotions, your beliefs, your expectations literally shape the behavior of your immune cells. Subsequent research has gone further. Studies on meditation practitioners, particularly long-term practitioners of mindfulness and compassion-based meditation, have shown measurable changes in immune function. A study published in Psychosomatic Medicine found that an 8-week mindfulness program produced a significant increase in antibody response to an influenza vaccine compared to a control group. Research on telomeres, the protective caps on the ends of chromosomes that shorten with age and stress, has shown that meditation practice is associated with increased telomerase activity, the enzyme that rebuilds telomeres. Elizabeth Blackburn, who won the Nobel Prize for her work on telomeres, co-authored research demonstrating this connection. What this means is that your state of consciousness is not separate from your biology. It is your biology. The frequency at which your consciousness operates, the coherence of your internal state, directly shapes the behavior of your cells, your immune response, your gene expression, and your aging process. And when that frequency shifts, when your consciousness moves to a different operating level, your biology follows, not metaphorically, measurably. This is what is happening to you. Your consciousness is shifting, and your body is following. The symptoms you are experiencing are your immune system recalibrating, your nervous system rewiring, your fascial web reorganizing, your cellular communication updating to match a new coherence pattern. And the reason I said I should not be telling you this is because the moment you become aware of this process, you become the observer. And the observer, as quantum mechanics has demonstrated beyond any reasonable doubt, changes the system being observed. The measurement problem in quantum mechanics is one of the deepest unsolved puzzles in physics. Before measurement, a quantum system exists in superposition, a state of multiple possibilities coexisting simultaneously. The wave function describes all of these possibilities mathematically. But the moment a measurement is made, the moment an observation occurs, the wave function collapses. One possibility becomes actual. The rest vanish, and no one knows why. There is no mechanism in the equations that produces the collapse. The equations describe the superposition perfectly. The collapse is something that happens when consciousness meets the system. Some physicists, following the interpretation proposed by John von Neumann and later developed by Eugene Wigner, have argued that consciousness itself is the cause of wave function collapse. That the act of observation is not passive recording, but active creation. That the observer does not just witness reality, but participates in bringing it into being. Whether or not this interpretation is ultimately correct, the experimental fact remains. Observation changes the system, and you are now observing your own recalibration, which means the recalibration is changing because you are watching it. This is not a problem. This is the point. This is how conscious evolution works. The body begins the process unconsciously, beneath your awareness, in the dark. The way a seed germinates underground. But at a certain point, the shoot breaks the surface. It enters the light. And from that moment, growth is no longer unconscious. It is participatory. You are not just undergoing a recalibration. You are co-creating it. And the quality of your attention, the coherence of your observation, will determine what the new pattern looks like. If you're feeling the depth of what we've just uncovered, there's something more I want to offer. Have you spent years chasing manifestation, visualizing, affirming, raising your vibration, only to watch the same patterns repeat? Every traditional method assumes the same thing, that you are separate from what you want. That separation was never real. You were chasing a signal you were already broadcasting. Beyond the frequencies, a quantum guide to consciousness mastery walks through all 9 frequencies, from the dense transmissions trapping you, through the ascending currents, to the master frequencies where consciousness becomes the field. Every method you tried sent a signal outward. This one tunes the signal you already are. Every day you delay, your nervous system broadcasts the same old signal, and breaking free gets harder. So move on it tonight. The link is in the pinned comment below. Now let's return to the practice of conscious observation and how to support this process from within. So let me tell you how to observe this process in a way that supports it rather than disrupts it. Because there is a difference between watching with fear and watching with presence. And your body can feel the difference at the cellular level. There is a practice that comes from the contemplative traditions, but aligns precisely with what the neuroscience of interoception tells us about how the brain maps the body's internal state. Interoception is your brain's ability to sense what is happening inside your body. Heart rate, breath, gut sensation, temperature, muscle tension. Research by Bud Craig at the Barrow Neurological Institute has shown that interoceptive awareness is processed in the insular cortex, and that the accuracy of your interoceptive sensing correlates with emotional intelligence, self-awareness, and the ability to regulate your own states. People with high interoceptive accuracy are better at recognizing their emotions, better at making decisions, and more resilient under stress. During a recalibration, your interoceptive signals are amplified. Your body is sending more information than usual because more is changing than usual. And if you do not have a practice for receiving that information consciously, your mind will interpret the signals as threat. It will tell you something is wrong. It will generate anxiety, health fears, catastrophic thinking. Not because anything dangerous is happening, but because your mind does not have a framework for what your body is doing. You are giving it one now. Here is the practice. I want you to do this with me right now, wherever you are. If you are driving, simply listen. If you are still, close your eyes. Bring your attention to the center of your chest, not your heart as an organ, but the space around it. The field of sensation in your chest cavity. Do not try to feel anything specific. Just notice what is already there. Warmth, pressure, tightness, openness, vibration. Whatever is present, let it be present without naming it as good or bad. Now expand your attention slightly. Include your throat, your solar plexus, the area just below your navel. You are not scanning for problems. You are listening. the way you would listen to music in a dark room, not analyzing, receiving. As you hold this listening attention, notice something subtle. Your body responds to being listened to. The act of bringing non-judgmental awareness to a sensation changes the sensation. Tightness may soften. Vibration may intensify. Emotions may surface. This is not you doing something to your body. This is your body completing a process it has been waiting to complete, a process that required your conscious attention to finish. This is the observer effect, lived. Your attention is not passive, it is participatory. And right now, in this moment, you are participating in your own recalibration by giving it the one thing it needs most. Witness, presence, the willingness to feel what is happening without running from it or trying to fix it. Stay with this for another moment. Notice if there is a part of your body that is calling for attention more loudly than the rest. A knee, a shoulder, your lower back, your jaw. Go there. Not with the intention of healing it, but with the intention of hearing it. Because that part of your body has been holding a frequency that is ready to release, and it has been waiting, perhaps for years, for you to turn toward it instead of away. What did you feel just now? What part of your body spoke the loudest when you gave it permission to be heard? Share that in the comments below. Because when you name a sensation, you anchor the new frequency into your conscious awareness, and your words may give someone else the courage to listen to their own body. This is the difference between healing and recalibrating. Healing implies something was broken and is being repaired. Recalibrating implies something was tuned to one frequency and is now tuning to another. Nothing was wrong with the old frequency. It served you. It kept you alive. It matched the reality you were navigating. But you are not in that reality anymore. Something has shifted in your awareness, in your understanding, in the field itself. And your body is updating to match. There is a phenomenon in physics called hysteresis. It describes the tendency of a system to lag behind the force that is driving it. When you magnetize a piece of iron by exposing it to a magnetic field, and then you remove the field, the iron does not immediately return to its unmagnetized state. It retains some of the magnetization. It lags. It holds on to the pattern even after the cause of the pattern is gone. Your body does this with experience. A traumatic event happens. The event ends, but your body retains the pattern of the event. Your muscles hold the tension. Your nervous system holds the activation level. Your fascia holds the contraction. Your hormonal rhythms hold the stress signature. The event is over, but the body has not updated. It is still magnetized by something that is no longer present. Recalibration is the process of demagnetizing, of releasing the residual patterns that no longer match the current field. And it happens not through force, not through effort, not through trying to let go, but through coherent observation, through the same mechanism that collapses the wave function, through the simple, profound act of looking at what is there. This is why I said your body already knows. Your body has been doing this work without your conscious participation. It has been relieving old patterns in your sleep, through your dreams, through the strange symptoms that have no medical explanation. It has been reorganizing your nervous system, your immune function, your cellular communication. It has been doing this because the field has shifted, and your body is entangled with the field. And entangled systems update together. Not because a signal is sent, because they were never separate. But now you are aware of it, and your awareness changes everything. Not because awareness adds something that was missing, because awareness removes the one thing that was slowing the process down. Resistance. The resistance that comes from not understanding what is happening. The resistance that comes from interpreting recalibration symptoms as disease. The resistance that comes from the mind's desperate need to categorize every sensation as either safe or dangerous, with no room for the third category, which is transformative. There is a concept in thermodynamics called a dissipative structure. It was developed by Ilya Prigogine, who won the Nobel Prize in chemistry for this work. A dissipative structure is a system that maintains its organization by continuously dissipating energy. It is not a closed, static system like a crystal. It is an open, dynamic system like a whirlpool or a living cell. And Prigogine showed something remarkable about these structures. When a dissipative structure is pushed far from equilibrium, when it receives more energy or information than its current organization can handle, it does not simply break down. It reaches a bifurcation point, a moment of instability, and then it spontaneously reorganizes at a higher level of complexity. The new structure is more ordered, more coherent, and more capable than the old one. But the transition, the passage through the bifurcation point, looks like chaos. You are at a bifurcation point. The chaos you are experiencing, the physical symptoms, the emotional upheaval, the sense that your old life no longer fits, the inability to go back to sleep after waking in the night. These are not signs of breakdown. They are signs that your system has received more information than its current organization can handle. And instead of breaking, it is doing what dissipative structures do. It is reorganizing at a higher level. But you have to pass through the instability to get there. There is no shortcut through the bifurcation point. There is only through. And here is what lives on the other side. Not a different life in the sense of different circumstances, though circumstances often shift as a downstream effect. What lives on the other side is a different you. A you whose nervous system is calibrated to a wider bandwidth. A you whose body is no longer organized around old threats that are no longer present. A you whose immune system is no longer spending its resources fighting ghosts. A you whose field is coherent enough to interact with reality differently, to notice patterns that were invisible before, to respond instead of react, to hold complexity without collapsing into anxiety. This is not a promise. This is physics. This is what happens when a dissipative structure successfully navigates a bifurcation point. It becomes more than it was, not by adding anything from outside, but by reorganizing what was already there. Your body already knows this. It has been doing this since before you were born. Every developmental stage you passed through as an infant, every growth spurt, every hormonal shift, every time your immune system encountered a new pathogen and reorganized to handle it, was a recalibration. Your body is an expert at this. It has done it thousands of times. The only difference now is that this recalibration is not just biological. It is conscious. It is happening at the level of your awareness, your identity, your relationship to reality itself. And that is why it feels bigger. That is why it feels like everything is changing, because everything is changing, not falling apart. Reorganizing. There is a specific quality of the reorganization that happens at the level of identity that I want to name precisely, because it is the part that frightens people the most, and is therefore the part most worth understanding. When your biofield shifts to a higher coherence pattern, the self-concept that was organized around the old frequency becomes unstable, not false necessarily, but incomplete. Like a map that was accurate for the territory you used to inhabit, but does not include the terrain you are now moving through. The map is not wrong. It simply does not go far enough. And the mind, which has been using that map to navigate, experiences its inadequacy as a kind of vertigo, a groundlessness, a sense of not knowing who you are anymore, not in a dramatic existential crisis way, but in a quieter, more disorienting way. The things that used to define you, your role, your preferences, your certainties about what you believe and what you value, begin to feel like clothes you have outgrown. Still yours, still recognizable, but no longer quite fitting. This identity vertigo is not a psychological problem. It is a structural feature of recalibration. The old coherence pattern included a self-concept, a particular story about who you are and what reality is. As the coherence pattern updates, the self-concept updates with it. And in the gap between the old story and the new one, there is a period of not knowing. The contemplative traditions call this the cloud of unknowing, the dark night of the soul, the void. Modern developmental psychology calls it a meaning-making transition. Prigoghine's thermodynamics calls it the passage through the bifurcation point. All of these descriptions are pointing at the same territory, the place where the old pattern has released and the new one has not yet crystallized. And the instruction from every tradition that has mapped this territory is the same. Do not try to resolve the not knowing prematurely. Do not reach back for the old map. Do not manufacture certainty to escape the discomfort of the gap. Stay in the gap. Let the new pattern form at its own pace, because the coherence that emerges when you allow the reorganization to complete itself is more stable, more accurate, and more alive than anything you could have constructed by forcing the process to end before it was ready. Let me give you something concrete to work with in the days ahead. Because understanding this intellectually is the first step, but your body does not recalibrate through understanding. It recalibrates through experience, through felt, embodied, lived experience. Each night before sleep, for the next 7 days, I want you to lie on your back and place one hand on your chest and one hand on your belly. Close your eyes. And instead of trying to relax, instead of trying to meditate, instead of trying to do anything at all, simply ask your body one question. Not out loud, not even in words necessarily, just as an intention, a direction of attention. The question is this: what are you becoming? Do not answer the question with your mind. Let your body answer. Let the answer come as sensation, as image, as emotion, as silence. Your body has been working on this answer for longer than your mind has been asking the question. Give it space to respond. You may feel warmth spreading. You may feel tears. You may feel nothing at all, and that nothing may be the most important thing you have felt in months, because it is the absence of resistance. It is the space where the new pattern is forming. What you are doing with this practice is more specific than it might appear. The position itself, lying supine with hands placed on chest and belly, activates the afferent pathways of the vagus nerve. The pressure of your own hand on your sternum stimulates the mechanoreceptors in the fascia over your heart, which sends a signal through the vagal network that the system interprets as safe contact. Research on therapeutic touch and self-compassion practices has shown that this kind of gentle self-contact measurably reduces cortisol and activates the release of oxytocin, the neuropeptide associated with bonding, safety, and social connection. You are, in the most literal biological sense, signaling safety to your own nervous system. And a nervous system that feels safe is a nervous system that can complete its reorganization, because reorganization requires energy, and a body running a high sympathetic tone is spending most of its available energy on vigilance. When you signal safety, you free that energy for the work of recalibration. The question itself, what are you becoming, is also doing something precise. It directs attention toward the body's forward edge, the growing tip of the reorganization, rather than toward the symptoms, which are the trailing edge, the residue of what is releasing. This distinction matters enormously. When you focus on the symptoms, on what hurts, on what is strange, on what is not working, you are directing coherent observation toward the old pattern. And observation stabilizes what it observes. You do not want to stabilize the old pattern. You want to stabilize the new one. By asking what you are becoming, you are turning the beam of your attention toward the emergent frequency. And that attention, that coherent observation, is exactly what the new pattern needs to consolidate. What are you becoming? Not what are you trying to become, not what should you become. What are you already, right now, in this moment, in the process of becoming? Your body knows. It has known longer than you have, and it has been waiting, patiently, persistently, for you to ask. Consider listening to this again tomorrow morning before you start your day. Let these words move through your body a second time, because each listen recalibrates at a deeper layer. The first time you heard this, your mind was working to understand the concepts, mapping the new territory, building the framework. The second time, the framework is already there, and the words can move past the mind directly into the body's listening. The third time, if you go that far, you may find that certain passages land in a place that has no name, a place below thought and above sensation, which is exactly where the deepest recalibration is occurring. And if someone came to mind while you were listening, someone who has been experiencing their own unexplained symptoms, their own quiet unraveling, send this to them. When you share this understanding with another person, you are not just passing along information. You are extending the coherence of your own field into theirs. You are creating a non-local bridge between two systems that are already entangled, and that act of conscious connection accelerates the recalibration for both of you. There is one more thing I want to leave you with, and it is perhaps the most important thing in this entire conversation. The recalibration you are going through is not happening to you alone. You are not an isolated system updating in a vacuum. Remember entanglement. Remember non-locality. Remember Bohm's implicate order. If the deeper structure of reality is undivided, if separation is a feature of the explicate surface and not of the implicate depth, then when you recalibrate, the field recalibrates. When your coherence increases, the coherence of everything you are entangled with increases. Your relationships, your environment, the people who never hear these words, but who are connected to you in ways that neither of you can see. This is not grandiosity. This is the logic of non-local correlation applied to living systems. When one part of an entangled system changes state, the correlated parts change state. Not because a signal is sent, because they were never separate. Your recalibration is not a private event. It is a contribution to the coherence of the whole. And the discomfort you are enduring, the symptoms you are navigating, the confusion you are sitting with, is not meaningless suffering. It is the price of a phase transition that extends far beyond your individual body. Consider what this means for the nights when the process feels most isolating. The 2 a.m. wakefulness, the moment when the symptom that has no name makes you wonder if you are simply unraveling with no destination. In those moments, the physics of entanglement is not a comfort offered to make you feel better. It is a structural fact about what you are. You are not a closed system suffering alone. You are an open, dissipative structure in active exchange with a field that is itself reorganizing. Every moment of your recalibration is simultaneously a moment in the field's recalibration. The boundary between you and the field is not where you think it is. It is not at your skin. It is not even at the edge of your measurable biofield. In the implicate order, there is no boundary. There is only the single, undivided process expressing itself through the particular form you call your body, your life, your awakening. Your body already knows this. It has been telling you in every ache, every sleepless night, every wave of inexplicable emotion. It has been telling you that something is changing, something real, something at the level of your cells and your field, and the deep structure of reality itself. And now your mind knows it too, not as a belief, not as a hope, as a recognition of what was already underway. The recalibration will continue. It does not need your permission, but it benefits immensely from your participation, from your willingness to observe without fear, from your willingness to feel without fixing, from your willingness to ask your body what it is becoming and to listen, truly listen, to the answer. You are not breaking down. You are breaking open. And what is emerging is not something new. It is something that was always there, folded into the implicate order of who you are, waiting for the moment when the field shifted enough, when your consciousness expanded enough, when your body that was ready enough to unfold it into the light. That moment is now. Your body already knows, and now, so do you. If this reached something in you that felt like recognition rather than information, if your body responded to these words before your mind could evaluate them, then you are exactly where you need to be. Stay with this. Let the recalibration do its work. And if you feel called to, leave a word in the comments, just one word, that describes what you felt in your body as you listened. Not what you thought, what you felt. Because that feeling is the new frequency. And naming it, even with a single word, is how you anchor it into your waking life. Subscribe if you want to go deeper. There is more ahead. And your body, as always, will get there before your mind does.